going on, guys? It's Cam from Fantasize, and today we are reviewing my personal 2024 Ninja 500 ABS. I want to go over a few things with you guys just to let you know, like, some of the quirks that I've found, some things that I like, some things that I dislike, some of the specs, and comparison a little bit with the Ninja 400. I took my tag out so you guys don't do any hooligan-esque things with my tag number. So I do ride with my tag. It's over there in my bag. Just throwing that out there. I'm licensed, insured, everything, so don't freak out. I do ride with my tag. It's just off for the video so you guys can see. I want to start out with, I love this bike. It's very great. I love it. There's nothing super major that makes me dislike this bike at all. There are a few quirks that I will probably change. Some things I'll modify, some things that are just cosmetic, and a few... We're gonna have a nice little chat. So, starting out, this is Kawasaki's 2024 Ninja 500 ABS. Now, that is not an SE. This doesn't have the keyless. This doesn't have the tank pads that are optional for that. This doesn't have any of the extra little mods. This does not have there's a little USB connector and wireless connection with an app on the TFT display. For the SE models, this bike does not have any of that. So this is a 451cc. Kawasaki lied a little bit. What's new? Everybody lies about everything, I guess. But it's a 451cc. It makes 51 horsepower, and I believe that's at 9,000 RPM. This bike revs out to 11.7, opposed to the Ninja 400 that revs out to 13. So there's a big difference there. Supposed this is the 451c3M motor, I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to check that. But it makes 31 and a half, I don't know, foot-pounds of torque at, I believe, 6,000 RPM. I'm going off my notes that are over there in my book bag, so bear with me. But I want to talk about first, in comparison to the Ninja 400, this bike feels a little bit bigger only when you're right here. When you're on the bike, this feels bigger, and the bike does feel like it weighs a little bit more. I believe there's a 10 to 15 pound difference between these two bikes. Curb weight on this bike supposedly is 380. This bike doesn't feel that heavy to me. Now, granted, I'm 6 foot 200, so I weigh about as much as this bike. If I lay down, I'm probably taller than it. So with that being said, this bike is still comfortable. It's very ergonomic. The rider triangle is more sport casual than it is sport. There's a big difference in the two riding styles. This one's very comfy. When I'm up here, everything's nice and straight. If I come all the way up, everything's nice and straight. My back's not hurting, and that was a big thing for me when buying a bike. I went to look at a 650 and I didn't like the rider triangle on it. The bars felt like they were too high. It just didn't feel right when I sat on it. Nothing about how I sit bothers me. Now, there is one thing that bothers me about the rider triangle, though, is that in any form of, I don't know why that's down, in any form of aggressive riding, track style, anything that's going to need aggressive lean angle, so a lot more than you would just bebopping around on the highway or back curls or whatever, you're not going to need a crazy lean angle. But for those of the people that do ride a little more aggressive and like to get to that edge of the tire, I obviously do not. You're going to have an issue if you ride like this. Excuse me. If you ride like this or like this, you're going to touch your feet on the ground. Ask me how I know. I've already done it a couple times. I almost fell down. You're gonna hit your feet. Now, I've seen a lot of mods with the 400, which I'm probably going to do with this, is take all of this and move it up a little bit. Now it's going to change your rider triangle completely. It's going to move your knees forward more a little bit. It's going to bring your feet up, and that could be uncomfortable. Now I'm probably going to do this mod and then maybe review that and see how big of a difference it does make, because it's going to change a lot. Just by moving this will change a lot of stuff. Now with that being said, it's not that big of a deal, but if you do lean in a little bit harder than you normally would, it's probably going to be a little aggressive. Now, one of the other things that I enjoy about this bike is it's so good looking. I could just sit and look at this thing all day, dude. It's so good. It's so nice. This is essentially a Temu H2. Come on, why do you not like that? Sure, it's slower than a 400. Sure, you're gonna get gapped by most traffic. You're probably gonna lose to a Honda Odyssey if you get a little ballsy in traffic. You might die, but that's just motorcycle riding. But anyway, this is essentially a Temu H2. The trellis frame is based off of the H2. Kawasaki even has it on their website. I confirmed that earlier. With that being said, I thought somebody was coming down this road. I was like, we're super out here. There's no reason anybody should come out here. Anyway, this thing is super good looking. It's a little more extroverted than the Ninja 400, as you can see here. The nose is completely different. There are some styling differences. I think the nose probably comes out a little bit more and looks a little less aggressive than this right here. And I think the windscreen's different. But for the most part, this is basically a beefed up Ninja 400. I say that, but it's completely different. So, top speed confirmed by the interwebs says this bike will do 118. Talking with some people that have owned a Ninja 400, they've said that at Redline at 13,000, they've gotten their bike closer to upwards of 120. Now, I can confirm on track that this thing will do 114-ish, but after about 105, it really falls on its face. So you have to be really cooking in order to fully use the top speed. But this bike is not a top speed bike. Obviously, it's a 500, but 451 apparently. 451, not a 500. But big truck. But with that being said, there are some slight differences. This bike is way more torque oriented, as the 400 has a lot more top end. I've rode the 400, I've rode the 500. I enjoy the 500 more because it's very torquey. It gets off the line a lot more aggressive and floats the gears a little bit better through first, second, and third versus the 400. But you can definitely tell the power difference in the higher RPM for sure. So that's one thing to consider if you want to get a 400 or if you want to get a 500. The 400, I would compare it to, in the car world, like a Honda Civic or a Rotary. Love Redline, and that's where your power's at, is towards the top most of the time. This I would compare to like a Miata or a 240SX. It's fun, it has a bunch of low end power, but towards the top it just falls on its face. That's just kind of how it is. You have two bikes that are built the same, but they're not the same. A little bit different. So if you take that into consideration, if you want this one or if you want the 400, I personally like this bike, but it is a little bit heavier. It is a little bit slower on the top end. It's torquier. There are things that are different, but all in all, it's the same thing. So it's one of those, if you have a buddy that has one, ride it. See if the 500 is better than the 400. I'm probably going to do a comparison video at some point. I have a close friend that has a 400, and I would love to do a side-by-side comparison, and then maybe we'll go on track and we'll do a little test just to see who's faster on what. Now, I'm probably going to lose, but it'll be fun. Now, talking about how good this thing looks. This livery does not come factory. I did this. I've had a bunch of people ask me, oh, is that a 600? Oh, did you put this, excuse me. Is this a 600? How did you get this? And I'm like, I made it look a little more aggressive by putting a livery on it, but Kawasaki doesn't want to hire me for that. I'd make this look way better if I had time. This was done with like 30 minutes and a Cricut machine, so yeah, take that in with a grain of salt. Anyway, all I've done cosmetic wise so far is I've put some stickers on it. I put a tank grip on it. I probably will do the knee pads on the side just to make it a little more comfortable for me, but that's all personal preference. Now, another styling mod I probably will do is just purely cosmetic, is I'm probably gonna get shorter arms. I don't want stealth mirrors, I just want shorter arms. Pull these mirrors in just a little bit, because right now they look like a moose. Not really digging the moose. We'll just pull it in a little bit. That'll look good. I think that little OEM plus look would be great. The mirrors don't really work on a motorcycle anyway, so especially when you have broad shoulders, you can't see past your own arms. So another thing I would do, clearly everybody does it, get rid of this tail section. It is so god awful. Like, even from the front, if I come up here and I go wow, I didn't hear my GoPro cut off, and I filmed an entire rear section of this video, and now I have a bunch of footage that didn't even record, so that's great. Essentially, what I was saying was shorter mirrors, tail section, get rid of it. It's super disgusting. Every bike, terrible. You shouldn't put it on anyway, but yeah, no, have to, whatever. I'll probably get some integrated reflectors and turn signals just to make it a little bit nicer, but exhaust will probably stay the same for the most part. If I do get one, it'll probably be from the header all the way back, because I don't like shorties. They're a little too loud. But if I do get an exhaust and I put it on and I don't like it, I'm going to throw it away and put the stock one back on, because I don't mind the way it sounds. It sounds pretty good in my opinion. If you throw the key in and make sure it's in neutral and give it a little way to do that. Stock. So imagine with a full header and exhaust, it probably pop, 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 pop. Maybe, I don't know, probably not. Anyway, overall, let me know what you think. There's a few things I would change, but for the most part, I really love this bike. Let me know if Fenisize should stop sponsoring me, because I'm slow and I can't make this thing fast because I'm broke or whatever. I don't know. Like the video, dislike the video, send it to a friend, tell your grandma I'm good at this. I don't know, do something.